Welcome back to another week of fight recaps. This week we're recapping UFC Seattle, Israel Adesanya against Joe Pyfer, and we're finally joined by none other than Johnny Shenton. How we doing?
Good to be back, fellas. It's been a while. This is a good card to talk about. I'm all fired up. Great card, great main event. Excited to see what's next for Joe Pyfer too.
Yeah, how crazy was that card, guys? I mean, we'll kick it off with the main event, but Joe Pyfer knocking out Israel Adesanya in the second round. What do you guys think? That was a tough one.
It was sad. I'm really happy for Joe Pyfer. I've been a fan of him since he joined the UFC, but I've also been a fan of Izzy for as long as I can remember. I really thought that 13-month hiatus it was either going to be like, great. He's going to come back a new man, his old self, but doesn't seem to be the case. But he seems pretty set on staying in the UFC, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, really upsetting seeing Israel get knocked out like that, especially he's someone that, I watched when I first got into the UFC and helped me, get into the sport. I do like Joe Pyfer. I think he is a major problem for the division, and I do look forward to what he does next. And I'd love to give Izzy a layup. He did look good. I think he won potentially round one. But he could have stayed on the back heel and just point fighted and just tried to piece him up. But he tried to go into the fire, tried to make it entertaining, and he got caught. Um, I think honestly a great matchup for Izzy would be let's give him Gastelum, dude. Gastelum rematch. Uh, they both lost to Joe Pyfer recently, and I think that makes sense and would that's a fight that Izzy could win.
Yeah, I think the same thing stood out to me what you were saying. Like he looked good in the first round and then he kind of got caught up trying to throw with Joe Pyfer. And it's a tough one. That's a tough situation to be in. He was holding his own in the first round, staying a bit at distance, and then I think in the second round he landed some shots and started to feel confident, especially some knees that I saw he landed that looked clean to the head and to the body. And then he got up from that wrestling exchange and then he felt confident and he was starting to throw and that's when Joe Pyfer just kind of put it all on him and it became too much and then Izzy just it was not great on the ground. He got his back taken immediately, body triangle was in and it's hard to get out of that position, especially Joe Pyfer, he's raining down shots on you.
Yeah.
It's tough to see a guy like Izzy that a lot of us admire and respect in spots like that. But you got to give it to Joe Pyfer, an impressive performance and really set his name in the contender ranks now.
Yeah, 100%. And, going back on that, dude, Izzy, I think he won that first round 10-9. I mean, if you're looking at the stats right now, he outstruck him, you know, not as many significant or more significant strikes, not by many. But he looked good. He looked sharp. But like you said, you can't really just go in there and try and go match Joe Piper's power, match his game of just throwing in the pocket like that because he's got scary power. And towards the end there, dude, it's what are you going to do? You're on your back against Joe Piper. He's going to rain down elbows. So you flip to your stomach, but now he has her back. It was a lose lose situation once it went to the ground. I think.
Yeah, I just want to point out what you said. Like Izzy on the strikes, he outstruck Joe Pyfer, even though he ate like 50 shots at the end there from Joe Pyfer. So that just goes to show Izzy was touching him up with the strikes, but at the end, Joe Pyfer really just took over. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I no, he his striking still looks good. He still looks like he has the ability to hang with some of the top guys in there. But it's just when he gets clipped, he gets put out. Um, I just I don't think he can hang with these, top guys that are power punchers anymore. I don't think he has the chin. I think his whole, style is based on reaction, right? He exposes his chin a lot. and it worked for him in the past because he was able to counter those. A lot of his most famous knockouts have come on counters, right? Especially like, when he knocked out Poeton, he was somehow able to eat those strikes and they countered him. And we saw some of that in the first round and he looked really good, but it's just when he gets caught, he gets put on chicken legs and gets put out. And we've seen that and versus Amavov and now Joe Pyfer is a very similar ending to both those fights.
Yeah, and I wonder how much like power his punches pack nowadays. I don't know if you guys saw Pyfer, if he ever looked like too bothered or injured by anything other than the knees. I don't know. I didn't
There was a
see
couple.
anything too significant.
Yeah, I mean, Izzy's still an unbelievable world class striker, and he's definitely had power, but he's always known for like timing and accuracy, which we saw a couple times last night. Piper would throw these big overhands, and Izzy snuck one on the chin. I never saw a moment where I was like, oh, he might take out Piper right there, but I'm like, all right, he's still got the timing, he's still got the accuracy. He's still world class, but Piper's just young, hungry, and aggressive.
I thought when he landed that knee, Pyfer was going to be in for a long night, but it didn't lead to too much.
Yeah.
No,
I have
that was fair.
my bad. I was just gonna say I would kind of love to see Piper versus maybe Drinkus, dude. I feel like that'd be a great stylistic matchup. Just two brawlers, two big boys just throwing down. He's gonna be in the top five. Drinkus is number one right now. So what do you boys think of that?
I
I
love
think
that pick.
Drickus wins that easy, bro.
You think
I'm
so?
sorry. I'm sorry. Drickus wins that easy.
You think he resorts to grappling, or you think he's gonna
I
stand and
think
bang with him?
I think he does both. And I think that he just I don't know, he's a big goofy guy. He's strong as fuck.
Yeah.
He's not gonna no he was really struggling to take down Izzy in that first round. And when he tries to do that, fucking DDP is gonna slip into a takedown, and suddenly, he has your back, and he's gonna submit you. He's gonna win by some goofy mistake, but he wins that fight in my mind every time.
I'd like to see that fight though. I think that'd be a fun fight to watch.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to see it.
100%. Yeah. I just don't know who else in the middleweight division. I mean, we got Strickland and Kamzat coming up
Mabov,
for
RDR,
Mabov. Ooh,
RDR, Maba, Barala.
ooh. Yeah.
Those are all good matchups.
I just want to see a top five matchup for him next time. So we only got Drinkus and a Mabov.
I mean,
Kyle.
him versus Strickland. If Strickland wasn't fighting for the belt again, that'd be a fun fight.
That would be a fun fight.
maybe eventually he gets
Yeah,
there.
Hopefully.
we'll see. There's
Um,
a lot of good matchups.
I like the RDR one though. I think that would be a good fight.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, based on
it's a stack
RDR,
division.
he
My bad.
might spark RDR, dude.
It's a stack division, dude. I feel like the Hunter and Dana really can't mess that one up. I
Yeah,
think
I think at the
whoever
top it'll be a good fight, regardless who he gets.
Oh, dude, they'll find a way to mess it up, bro. Don't worry. Don't
I'm sure.
fucking worry.
I mean,
They're
not,
gonna give him some random Dagestani guy, bro. Just they popped a new fucking cousin out.
Ikram
well,
Oh
comes
yeah,
back out of
Ikram.
nowhere.
Yeah,
imagine that. This one might make me emotional to talk about our girl Maycee Barber just getting flatlined like that. Golly, that made me sad.
crazy.
That was insane to see. And so quick too. I was like, I could not
You know,
believe that.
I was prepared to see her lose, but not like that.
I don't think I don't know who expected that like to ever happen. Like
It's
out
just
cold, two punches, boom, boom.
Dude, and then choked her afterwards. I was surprised they called that
Macy
a
couldn't even tap.
knockout, right? Yeah, she was out. I guess she was out before she hit the canvas, pretty much, bro.
I think
The
the
ref
ref.
couldn't even stop her like fast enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
dude, that
Mike
was
Beltran
crazy.
was he was like 6 feet away, and
Yeah,
by the time he got over there, she was already fully locked in a rear naked choke, out cold, mind you. I mean, there's just I. It was disgusting. That was one of the best, most impressive finishes I've seen in a long time. I'm trying to think of that one card where there was all those spinning back elbow knockouts. Do you guys remember which one that is? It was Leron Murphy and
Oh
towards last fight.
yeah, it was a 322
It might have been. It might have been. I'm
because that
I'm
was
just trying
when
to.
Pantoja broke his. Actually, no, no.
I was there in Vegas for that one. That was a great card, but that's not what I'm thinking of. Besides the point, one of the best finishes I've seen in a long time, and I think a lot of MMA fans would agree.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, that was insane.
it's one of the most brutal finishes I've
Shout out
seen
Grasso.
in the UFC ever. And I was not expecting Alexa Grasso to have that in her, dude. That looked like the Josh Emmett KO versus Bryce Mitchell, bro. She took her fucking soul.
She was there for like 2, 3 minutes, just like
Just breathing, bro.
crucifixed out. She was like, "Oh my God."
Just I
Well,
don't
it's
know
right.
why no one tried to sit her up or anything. They just looked at her
They're
breathing on
like,
the canvas.
"Take whatever time you need." That was insane.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I
All right,
mean,
you lose.
imagine you're Mike Beltran, like you're pulling up, you're like, "All right, guys, about to ref this co-main event, women's fight, about to be easy 3 rounder, shouldn't be too much going on." You're like 3 minutes in. I need to
I
get
mean,
her off.
yeah, I will
That
say,
was
dude, great stylistic matchup. Great because I mean, Maycee Barber, she's coming off. I think she was eight, eight fight win streak,
7 fight win
seven.
Seven
streak, I
fight win
think.
That
Yeah.
streak,
would have
yeah.
been her. Yeah, but dude, she's a
And
dog.
her
She's
last
always
loss was to Grasso.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It was, and that was
the
just.
kryptonite.
I don't think we're seeing. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say I don't think we're seeing a trilogy fight there. But Barber's always coming forward. She's a pretty good striker, even better wrestling. But then you get someone like Grasso, dude. I mean, flashbacks to UFC Noche. She had a cut maybe like an inch deep on her forehead, just covered in blood. I'm surprised she could even see. Throwing the whole time. So it's like there's no surprise there. That's a dogfight of all dogfights. And you
Yeah,
don't
when go
yeah,
ahead.
you don't see that in the flyweight division that much. In the women's flyweight division, you got some killers, Shevchenko, Grasso, Barber, but you don't see something like that every card, even from the big heavyweights, dude. That was textbook homicide.
Yeah, like you were saying, like that division, there's some real killers in there, and Grasso has faced all of them. Meanwhile, you look at Barber and the people she's faced, she hadn't been to that top level except for that time with Grasso, but that was in 2022, I think. And so that was a while ago. That was a different Grasso, and Grasso's after holding that belt, she's had that experience against the best of the best. She knows what it takes, and she put that on full display and was like, Maycee, take a step back. You're not ready for this yet. Take a step back. And she really took over and dominated. All respect to her.
I mean, I think Macy was winning that fight before that she landed that. I think it was a very close first round. Um, but yeah, what the fuck are you supposed to do about that?
Yeah,
Not a whole lot.
I don't think enough happened in the fight to even call that
I was
round,
getting
honestly.
it
No,
barely
no,
made
it
it
was super
past.
close.
Yeah, barely made it past half the round. It
Yeah, I
stopped
think
at
so.
242 in, so it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
plenty of ball left. Anything could have happened, but that 1-2 right into her
Plenty
rear
of
naked
ball
choke.
left.
Yeah, plenty of ball left. But great fight.
Yeah. It's
I
tough
think
when you go
that's
out at the top of the first inning.
yeah. Finish of the year though. Finish of the year for sure. So
So
far.
far, yeah, I love
Yeah,
that pick.
by far.
I
Yeah,
Um,
agree.
I mean that leaves Grasso in a bit of a weird spot now. Like, what does she do? Does she fight Silva again? Does she go for
Fight
the belt?
Shevchenko again.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone really wants to see that right now, you know?
yeah.
Just
I mean, like
only match them up with each other for the rest of the fucking time.
It's like Moreno and Figgy.
I never see, you don't see it often. I shouldn't say never, but you don't see it often where women's fighters will jump up a weight class or go down. I'd be interested to see Grasso take that power to the strawweight division, even.
I
We'll
mean, you saw
see.
what happened when Zhang Weili tried that. She got fucking dominated by a bitch that's way bigger than her.
Yeah, she got waylaid. She got waylaid for sure.
Dude,
with that.
I love Whaley, and seeing Shevchenko just sit on her and throw elbows on her for fucking like 4 whole rounds
That
was
was tough.
brutal.
That was tough.
I don't like that one.
I don't know what was worse, Maycee getting murdered or fucking Zhang Weili getting the worst type of decisions, you know?
How about just a shout out to Chiesa and Price, both of their last fights in the UFC. Chiesa getting the win at home. You know, if you saw his post fight interview, it obviously meant a lot to him. They've both been in the UFC since 2008, I think. I'll have to double check that. But they've been, I mean, they're both OGs. So it was good to see. You know, it was a good fight for Chiesa. I'm sure Niko Price is a little disappointed with how it ended for him, but both had great careers, dude. So shout out to both those guys.
Yeah, respect to him. Seattle legend,
Mhm.
Washington legend. He's from Spokane, but yeah, that was a great little sub. He got that real quick. Didn't break a sweat and didn't really absorb any damage. So good for him. He went out the way he wanted to, and shout out to the UFC for letting him do that.
I
100%.
honestly, I don't, Niko Price said he was going out there to upset people, Oh, he didn't actually say he was going out there. He said sorry if he upset some people, because he was going out there to fight, but he did not look like he wanted to be in there. It didn't even seem like he really tried to fight that choke. He kind of just locked it in, felt for a second, then tapped. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
easy
mean, there's
payday
only
for him, man.
right. There's only so much you can do when someone like Chiesa gets your back and really locks in a rear naked choke. You know, you either go out on your shield or you tap early. And you know, he's had a long career. He's taken enough damage. Tap early,
yeah.
last fight, dude. Just get the payday, get out of there. You're already an OG in the sport. No need to go out on your shield. We already know he's a dog.
Yeah, hopefully the UFC compensated him accordingly for the short notice fight.
Yeah,
How about Lerryan fucking Douglas? Dude, that guy, his power reminds me of Carlos Prates. He was jabbing the fucking shit out of him in the corner of the cage, and every time he hit him with a jab, he would fucking drop. It was insane. I was surprised Erosa survived that long. Um, yeah,
That
I'm
was
I'm super
insane.
excited. I'm super excited to see what Douglas does in the UFC. It looks like he has good takedown defense too. So yeah, super hyped. Fucking probably one of my favorite prospects from the last season of Contender Series. So I'm so hyped to see what he does in the UFC.
yeah. I
He
will
looks
give him,
dangerous.
dude, dangerous. I mean, he was swinging for the fences the entire time. And I will say, you know, Erosa is a good fighter, experienced veteran in the game. With that being said, I think Douglas's early leg kick. I don't know if you guys caught that. I think it was in the first like minute or so. He landed a nasty calf kick, and you
Oh
could
yeah.
Yeah,
tell
his legs were
immediately.
buckling.
Yeah, so I think his jab and his punches definitely had power, but I think he was getting put down by those jabs because he could barely stand on that one leg. You know.
Yeah, he had him hurt bad, and it was impressive that Erosa lasted as long as he did. He was toughing it out for sure. But Douglas looked sharp, like he picked his shots well, I'd say, for someone making their debut. And with all the hype around him to get the knockout, I would say he didn't force it. Like he let it come naturally just by the accumulation of damage. So I love to see that in a prospect. And yeah, I mean, kind of reminds me of like a Gene Silva kind of guy, just a dog that's looking to bite someone basically.
Yeah.
And he looks legit. He's got some good power. I like the Prates comparison as well. So I think the sky's the limit for him, only up for here from here. Tough for Erosa. I'm sure we might see him take a little bit of a break, hopefully, and then he'll come back. But I mean, Douglas's career is on the upward trajectory, so keep an eye out for him.
I was gonna say, do you think he gets a ranked fight next after his UFC debut? I mean, it was an unbelievable performance, unbelievable performances in the contender series. Maybe one more unranked opponent, but
I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him like a 15 or 14 kind of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
In
But
featherweight right now, David Onama's 14, Josh Emmett's 15. What do you guys think
yeah,
about that?
give him Emmett.
Yeah, yeah, but that's really throwing him into the
Poor
fire.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's gonna get smoked. It's gonna be so similar to the Vallejos fight if they fought, dude.
but that's a good stylistic matchup. Again, I'm all
I
about two
guess.
brawlers just getting in there, and from what we've seen,
Yeah, but Emmett doesn't look as sharp anymore.
true,
No,
true.
no, he's gotten slower, and
Douglas looked fast
I
too. He's got that speed.
he looked so good, bro. He looked
Yeah.
so fucking good. He didn't get overly excited when he wobbled him. He stayed on the outside, fucking landed powerful shots. Didn't give him a chance to like take him down in a scramble or
He
clinch him
didn't
up.
blow his load.
Did
Dude,
not
I
blow
was
his
I
load.
was so impressed. I was leaning towards Erosa to start the week, but after rewatching Douglas's fight videos, I completely started leaning towards him, and like, yeah, he showed up big time, embarrassed the veteran, kind of
Yeah, dude.
honestly.
He's got that twitchy power, kind of like Peter Yan. It's just like it's a flash. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't
Do
load
that
up
again,
on big.
John. It's like what? It's
Yeah,
like what?
you know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
watch out! Watch
Yeah,
out!
watch out, watch out. Yeah, no, he's got that twitchy power, dude. And when I was watching it last night, I was like, he is going to be a problem for that division. A problem,
Yusuf Belgaroui. Did you guys see that? I mean, come on. He was putting it on Mansur.
I
dude.
mean, he reminds me a lot of Alex Pereira. Seems like he's picked up a lot from training with him. I mean, obviously he was a really good kickboxer before that, but he's another guy that's going to be a huge problem for that division. I can't wait to see who they match him up with next because Malik was sliming guys before he ran into him, and he looked like he did not have the answers
He
at
made him
all.
look like it was his debut. Like Belgaroui was really
Yeah,
working him.
yeah,
He uses
Yeah,
that reach to all. He like maximizes the advantage. He really knows how to use his reach, and he uses it to stuff the takedowns as well. His defense looks sharp, and in the moments when Mansour did try to get those takedowns, because that's an area where people thought Mansour could expose Belgari, and he didn't let him do that. He really kept him at bay. Was shooting out and stuff in those takedowns, and I love to see that.
yeah, dude. You were saying he uses his reach really well, and that's just like it just shows like that Dutch kickboxing style. They produce some of the best kickboxers in the world, and you saw that. I mean, I'm looking at the stats right now. He had 107 strikes, 94 of which were significant, and our boy Abdul Malik had 16 total strikes. So it's like, yeah, he's using that Dutch kickboxing skill. He is dangerous, dude. That's
He
another
couldn't
fun
touch
guy.
him.
I
Oh
didn't know it
man,
was that bad. Holy shit!
yeah, he threw 61, landed 16. In all fairness, all 16 were significant strikes, 10 to the head, 3 to the body, 3 to the legs. But if you get hit 94 times, 94 significant strikes, you're folding at some point. And he folded. I think that fight could have been stopped earlier than it was at some points, but you know, it is
I'm
what it
glad.
is.
I'm glad Belgari managed to get the finish. I think that'll look good for his resume, and it'll make the UFC more confident in him. And I think everyone would agree that they want to see him back as soon as possible. And I wouldn't be surprised if he follows like a similar career path that Pereira took, really dominating at middleweight for a little bit and then working his way up. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he fought Joe Pyfer at some point, you know? That could be a fun fight. So I don't know. He really impressed me, and I think he's got a bright future in the division and in the UFC.
T-Rex is at it fucking again. How does he keep getting away with it? You know exactly what he's gonna do. But he has some crazy power. That head kick that dropped him, he blocked it. It wasn't a clean head kick at all. But it's like people don't know what to do. He fights a lot like what you see on, smaller promotions where, these early young fighters will just come in there and sprint at each other. And that's why you see like especially like, Contender Series, you see that a lot. where you see like very early finishes, but McKinney's doing it to these guys that are, UFC veterans. Like Kyle Nelson was coming off a knockout win in his last fight just to get put down in what, like 15 seconds? Was that it? It was
Yeah, I
ridiculous,
don't
man.
even.
Is 24 seconds into the first round.
24 seconds.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Not
Yeah.
even 30 seconds.
Yeah, McKinney fights like the cage is like 5 feet big. Like he fights like they're like in a phone booth, and that's the definition of the fight type of fights that fans want to see. You want to delight the fans, you put McKinney on that card. And I think if they can find a way to get him in UFC Miami, that would be amazing to add one of his fights to that card. But that's a quick turnaround. He's probably not going to want to do that. But still, what a fun fighter to watch and another spectacular performance. I think people are kind of doubting him because a lot of his performances are like super hit or miss, but the ones when he wins, he makes it look convincing and he's doing it in first round fashion. Be it by knockout, be it by submission. He's putting people away. And I mean, he's been put away by some of the better people in the division. So I mean, what can you take away from him? He's a fun fighter. People are gonna rally behind him, and I love him.
Yeah. He's great. I mean, there's only so much. You guys hit all the spots. There's only so much you can say about a fight that lasts 24 seconds into the first
Yeah,
round. But highly, highly, highly impressive. And to your point, Mario, I think to turn him around to UFC Miami, if that's something he's interested in, I mean, he took no damage. Kyle Nelson landed one strike, so he's not injured. He's probably still fresh. I didn't hear anything about him having like a bad camp or bad weight cut. So if you wanted that, dude, keep that momentum going. Get him on Miami.
Oh, I think, I mean, as long as there's rules around turnaround. I don't know if that's going to be too soon, but yeah, no, he took no damage at all, right? He was in there for 24 seconds. He had probably had sparring rounds that wore him out more during his camp. And like you were saying about him not being the most consistent fighter, I think it comes with the territory, right? When you sprint at someone and do everything you can to get them out there as soon as possible, you're gonna have fire returned, and sometimes you're gonna get caught. There's a reason why there's not a lot of fighters that fight like him. Because
Yeah.
if you want to like consistently win and have a perfect record, you can't do that. You see fighters kind of like like Michel Pereira, where he kind of started like that, being crazy, and then he takes a loss, and then he's like now suddenly a boring fucking point fighter. But Terrance McKinney, he doesn't give a shit, bro. He doesn't care. He'll lose a fight in 30 seconds. He does the same thing the next fight. I love him so much.
Yeah.
He's
When you fight with no regard for your health or your body, it tends to be just fireworks all around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
couldn't
he
agree
has
he's
no
more.
fear, bro. He has no fear at all.
yeah.
Talking about crazy fights, guys, let's move to this Ignacio Bahamondes fight. What a cut. The mat looked like it was Sparta. There was just blood all over the place. This dude was leaking. This guy probably lost pints of blood.
Yeah.
Dude, that fight pissed me off. Just another example of terrible refing in the UFC, which we see way too often now. That was probably the first time I've really seen a headbutt that was like this guy was just blatantly fucking headbutting someone. This is not a clash of heads. He clearly just did like a drop fucking headbutt on him. And that was also one of the worst examples of a fence grab I've ever seen. He bent the fucking fence. The fence was bent for the rest of the fucking night because of how hard he grabbed it. If Bahamondes got he didn't grab the fence, he would have gotten that takedown, either finished him with ground and pound or won the round and had the other guy in a much worse shape than he would have been if he didn't fucking cheat. They're not going to do it, but I think that was grounds for disqualification in the fucking headbutt alone. But they're not gonna change the thing for sure. But I don't know. Bahamondes looked great though.
Yeah,
Look, yeah.
considering the fire he was in, I think he handled that surprisingly well. It was just unfortunate to see what went down with that cheating and the fence grabbing. It's not something you want to see, especially at the highest level or what's considered the pinnacle of the sport. So I don't know. It definitely left a sour taste in my mouth. The fight was still exciting, not to take away from the two guys, but yeah, I mean, it was a good fight, and it was just impressive to see Bahamondes sticking through it. And he gained a lot of respect.
Yeah. No, I always try not to, you know, do the Monday morning quarterback kind of thing where you're like, oh, the refs were horrible in that game. That's why he lost. But, blatant fence grab, that's an immediate deduction of 1 point at any time, as it should be. And maybe the ref didn't see it. I would have liked to see Bahamondes actually continue striking because when he went for that takedown to put him down, he was already on Musayev was on chicken feet right there, man. He was wobbling around. Bahamondes probably could have finished that within the minute. I don't know. I don't know. A lot of different things could happen, but it is what it is. I'll definitely be keeping a skeptical eye on Musayev next time he fights that cheating bastard, but we'll see. Chase Hooper fraud checked by Lance Gibson
No.
Jr.
I
You're
mean,
not for
I
I
think
fear he
Lance
did.
Gibson Jr. was just better than everyone thought. I think we're
yeah.
very aware of the level that Chase is at. We're not no one's expecting him to make a run for the title. I think people just weren't expecting that. I mean, I low key sprinkled Gibson Jr. before the fight after I mean he lost a split decision to Bobby Green, who's a tough fighter, just knocked out fucking what's his name again? Uh, God, what's his name again? The Mexican guy, Zell Huber. He just knocked out Zell Huber. In his last fight, who people, I think he got fraud checked for sure. But tough one for Chase Hooper. Can't wait to see the Goon Lord back. And he really is just a gatekeeper, so I don't think that really means too much for Chase's career. He'll definitely be back for another fight. And he looked okay till he got caught with that elbow.
You know, I think you put it best. Hooper's a solid fighter. He's just a gatekeeper at this point. I think Gibson Jr., he looked solid, dude. He looked really solid. I, I don't know if he gets a ranked opponent next. We'll see. I mean, I don't have much to say about this fight. I low key think Hooper got fraud checked, but it was a
Yeah,
solid fight
I
overall.
kind of agree with you. I still haven't seen Hooper take a punch well, like he gets hit and I don't know, he it's not like some fighters where they're able to kind of it looks like they absorb the damage, they absorb the punch and they move on. I hate to say it, but Chase Hooper kind of reminds me of like a little boy, like he gets hit and he's like and he just kind of withers and the whole game plan kind of goes out the window, like that first time he got stumbled and he dropped his head and was like on all fours and then got kicked in the face, he was like he looked lost immediately. I was like, dude, like wake up, you're in a fight. And he just kind of got tossed around and I don't like to see that. I don't think it looks promising for him or his career. He's been back-to-back KOs. He needs to like, I don't know, I like put some muscle on. So I don't know. That's just my opinion.
With all that being said, I agree. I love doing this behind a computer screen because I would never say
Yeah,
that
I
to his
mean,
face. I would never
I
say that to
mean,
his face.
the dude has big hands. I've met the dude. He's a cool ass dude. He's got big hands,
You
bro.
know what big hands mean.
But
Big gloves.
it just I don't
Really
know.
good at
It's
gooning.
just the visuals don't look great recently, so I don't know.
That's fair. I think, I'm not counting him out of his next fight. I think he's still got potential to be a
Most definitely.
contender. A contender, I'd say. I don't know if I see him being a champ in lightweight division, especially with, I mean, look at the top five. You got Taporia's champion, Gaethje Sarukian, Oliveira Holloway, BSD. I don't know if he goes toe to toe with any of those guys, but I think he definitely has some potential to be a really strong contender, at least top 15.
Yeah, and he's still young, so I mean he can
Yeah.
still continue developing. So I love the guy. I wish him all the best. So
Yeah.
it was an
Yeah.
unfortunate setback. Little context, Johnny only started watching the fights after the Tybura fight or before the Tybura fight. Um, but he knows what happened in this fight. He did his research and saw that Sterling got the KO. So Navajo Sterling finally got his UFC KO. He looked good against Bruno Lopes, very measured, very patient, took his time, picked his shots, stayed on the outside, and used his distance, managed distance well. Impressive, I think, a very well-rounded performance. Didn't see too much in the grappling department, but I think right now that's not a big problem um, for his division. So we'll see what he can do, and I like the performance. It was a good knockout.
Oh yeah, he looks so good. He looked really good. And Keith Peterson tried so hard to rob him of that knockout. That was horrible. It's like the type of thing that you Herb Dean gets made fun of for, but he was just watching him. He dropped him twice. He could have stopped the fight after he dropped him the second time. I get giving the fighters a chance, but this isn't a championship fight. This
Yeah,
you're just taking years off of a fighter's life just for what? He still got KO'd. There was nothing he was holding on for dear life, you know.
yeah, he gave him
Um
every chance imaginable.
and it's like he was like not calling the fight because Sterling was getting tired from punching him repeatedly.
That's
Is
horrible. That's
God,
horrible.
it was so bad.
I'm
I'm
honestly,
so glad he got the KO though.
I'm glad I didn't, because seeing that dude, it always makes me upset. It's like he's dying. He's fucking dying. Stop the fight. Like whenever that happens, I get pretty animated. I stand up, start yelling at the TV. But on paper, Sterling looks fucking good, man. I mean, just in that fight, 90 strikes landed, 63 of them significant, and it's pretty well divided between like leg kicks, body shots, and hits to the head. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just what it looks like on paper. Um, yeah, I'm excited to see what he does in this division, dude. Light heavyweight's always been one of my favorites. They still throw fast, like kind of like middleweights or lightweights or whatever, but they got the power of heavyweight. So I'm excited to see what he does in this division.
Yeah, he looked like a true kickboxer in that fight. Mixed it up
Okay.
with the hands, with the legs, some leg kicks, body kicks. I liked it a lot. He looked like the whole package on the feet. Like I said, didn't see too much in the grappling department, but I don't think for now that'll be an issue for him. And he can continue developing that as he grows within the UFC and rises through the rankings.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
looking here.
yep.
It says Lopez shot 8 takedowns or went for 8 takedowns, got zero of them. So I don't know what that looked like in real time. It sounds like Lopez was getting the fucking brakes beat off of him. So that might have been desperation shots, but the stock 8 takedowns on paper, again, on paper. So correct me if I'm wrong.
No, no, some of those were legit takedown attempts where he actually did show really good takedown defense. But I they need to give Sterling like a ranked opponent. Give him like someone in the top 15, like lower half, of that. Because he needs someone to test him. I mean, he's really dominated his past few fights without, getting the knockout.
Give him
So
Rockage.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm looking at
that could
the
that could be a good matchup.
Rockich is number 11 right now. Johnny Walker at 12, Nikita Krylov, Dustin Jacoby, and Zhang Min Yang. So,
Any of
A
them,
lot
yeah,
of
any of
good
them would be
ones
good
right there.
matchups. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's fun, dude.
I,
I'm
I, I think
excited to
Zhang
see.
Min Yang might be a good, Zhang Min Yang just got kind of fraud checked by Walker. So I
Yeah.
think that's a good matchup.
Controversial fight here. Called it a draw between Ricky Simone and Adrian Yanez. I saw this one going clearly 2-0 to Ricky Simone, as did all the judges in the first two rounds. And then the third round, depends how you look at it, it was either a 10-9 or a 10-8 in Yanez's favor. What did you guys think? I personally did not think it was a 10-8. granted, Simone was basically out at the last bell. Not out, but a few more seconds and the ref might have stopped it. So I think that's what swayed it to a 10-8. But I think you look at the round as a whole, Simone was there. He was landing punches. He was competing in the round. And then I don't know, they just swayed it because of the knockdown and the damage at the end. I think that's what ultimately made it a 10-8.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think Ricky won those first two rounds. And I think it was a pretty soft 10-8. I've seen rounds where fighters, have looked like they were almost about to get finished, and they haven't been 10-8s. But I think it really has to do with the fact that, everyone thinks that he would have gotten finished if there was like 10 more seconds on the clock. So I think what really swayed the decision, and I don't hate it. I don't know if I personally would have said 10-8, but it's the fight game and not the worst outcome possible. He didn't actually get finished, but man, I see him after that, like trying to get up and stand up. Like I was surprised they didn't even call it like a TKO or something. Like they were like looking to see if he was still able to walk at the end, whether like they were going to even take it to decision. It was crazy.
Yeah, and he was pretty cut up too. So it was overall though, it was a really entertaining fight. I loved that fight. And that whole card was just spectacular. A lot of treats for the fans on there. Um, but yeah, that was a great competitive fight.
I will say, dude, it's you hear that analogy a lot of like the schoolyard fight. It's like the only person that wins is whoever's winning when the teacher stops it. And the judge kind of looks at it the same way. That's why you hear coaches say like after a tough third round or whatever, they'll be like, walk around, put your hands up like you won, because the judges are looking for that. They don't immediately when the fight stops, they don't stop scoring the fight. They still do it a little bit after. So if you got someone that looks bloodied, can't walk, looks like they might still be kind of knocked out almost, that's gonna affect their scoring a lot. And on paper, dude, it looks like Yanez outstruck Simon. I mean, not looks like, he did outstrike him, not by a significant margin, but 44 significant strikes to Simon, 71 to Yanez. So I don't hate the judge's call on that one. I don't hate it, but it's a fight game, dude. Sometimes you're winning two rounds and then last minute or two you get the fucking break speed off of you, and the judges are like, no, he was dead if that round didn't stop.
Yeah,
Dude, I mean, what you said, honestly, you guys remember Ludwig Klein's last fight versus Mateus Rebecki? That fight, it was a really close fight. I mean, he won the first two rounds, but I think it was either he like broke his arm or his leg in the third round. And I mean, it almost got finished, but they didn't even notice he broke it till afterwards. And like you said, he still put his hands up and he won the fight by decision, even after breaking his arm in the third round. So yeah, like you said, optics mean a lot.
yeah, I think that's ultimately what swayed the fight from being a Simone win to a draw. But I mean, we don't see draws too often. So shout out to both fighters. They put on a show. They did their part. It's unfortunate neither of them got the result that they wanted, but I mean, if they decide to run that fight back, I'd be down for that for sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
Giannis
do.
looked really good, dude.
Yeah, I do hate seeing just two brawlers have an absolute dogfight and then it gets called a draw. It's like they're leaving everything out there.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
so, that's a tough one to see. That's definitely like a blast to the ego or whatever for both of them. But, they're both great fighters. They've got a lot ahead of them in their careers. So I think we'll see.
Yeah, Daniel, like you said, Yanez looked great in his return. I remember his last few fights from seeing him. I didn't really like what I saw too much, and it looks like he took that time off and really made the most of it. because he looked very well rounded and he looked sharp with the hands. I mean, the last time we saw him around, he was known as like a top level boxer, and I think he's starting to get back to that and being more patient with the hands and letting the fight come to him as opposed to him like trying to enforce it to happen a certain way. And yeah, he looked good.
Oh yeah, dude, his distance management was elite. Simone puts a lot of danger with his grappling, and he didn't even really give him the chance. He kept him at that perfect range where he couldn't, shoot unless he was desperately diving in for that. And a lot of times when you do that, you get caught by like a knee or counter right or something.